Got me feeling like the realest on this earth. Tryna wash away my sins, I've been doing dirt. If I press a button on you, going to church. Load them in them, going to work. And we slide, we slide, we slide, we slide, we slide. And we slide, we slide, we slide, we slide, we slide. Putting it in for all my dogs that never made it home. Spending nights all in the booth and I've been staying long. Tryna chase 100 million, it won't take me long. When all these went against me, it just made me strong. And I don't need nobody help, I do it by myself. And taking risks for the fame, I keep it by my belt. And have a dollar to my name, you don't know how I felt. So how the f*** judge me when you ain't never loved me? Going to war with I grew up with tryna slug me. Used to
yes, sir. Every night. Welcome back to another episode of the Creators Trap Podcast. We got a new week. Got a special guest. We got the family edition this week.
Yes, sir.
We got my guy, my young boy. That's what I'm gonna call him. We got Juwan Wright Pro in the building. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you living, man?
Hey, you know,
you
just a squirrel in your world, man.
Just a squirrel in my world. Come on, man.
Hey,
I'm trying to be like you one day, man.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
You know, it's a nice little setup you got, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Yeah, we in VA this week in the 757.
A little real expensive here too. You know?
So I'm going to get into today's episode sponsors. Y'all just ignore what he's saying. So, speaking of today's sponsor is BRED Clothing. BRED Clothing is an apparel that gives you the confidence to be who you're created to be. BRED, which stands for Born Ready, Established Different, is not just a statement, it's a lifestyle. Made with high-quality material and iconic designs, BRED Clothing encourages you to remember to be yourself because you were born to be. You're established different because you can conquer any obstacles no matter what's in front of you. And you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook at BRED Clothing and on their website at www.breadclothing.com. And BRED Clothing is the presenting sponsor for this episode of the Creators Trap Podcast. And speaking of BRED Clothing, we got the owner,
you know,
the idea, the person who came up with BRED Clothing here with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about how he came up with the clothing idea and all that. So, I guess what a lot of people don't know. So, I'm going to try to ask these questions, but a lot of time I'm going to know the answer to what he about to say. We've known each other since little kids. But since we all know, I know that you've been into fashion for a long time.
Yes, sir.
So, talk about how you first got into fashion. What was that?
I'm going to say when I was in like middle school, more so elementary school, whatever, I was always into like colors and shapes, you know what I'm saying? And like I'll say with fashion, it's like a type of art. What it is basically, it basically is art. And it was just putting different clothes together, putting different styles together, doing stuff like that. It just always came natural to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And just my grandmother was a fashion designer. Yeah. So that's where the actual making the clothes came into about, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, with BRED Clothing and starting it, we were talking about this on some other episode, did you always think that, you know, I want to grow up, I want to design clothes, I want to do fashion stuff, or was it something that just happened for you?
I was always like, you know, somebody that wanted to go get it, to be a business owner, you know what I'm saying? I was always inspired by buildings and stuff like that. I never thought I would be a fashion designer, or you know what I'm saying, somebody that did fashion. I never thought that. It's just something that came natural, came to me, and I stuck with it. It's like I had a love for it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So, what would you say first sparked the idea of BRED Clothing? Like, what was the whole idea that came to you when you started, or when you first started starting BRED Clothing?
I'll say it was basically what I was seeing in the world, what was going on in my area. Like, I'd noticed people would have so much hidden talents and would be scared to express themselves or just talk about what they're going through, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or just anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is so much people that can do so many things out there, and they just don't know where to start, or they're afraid to speak up because they're afraid of what it might be. And I just wanted to start a brand that was able to express yourself. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn how to express myself in order to teach somebody else to express themselves with fashion.
So with BRED Clothing, it's stands for born ready, established different.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit about the whole meaning behind that when you came up with the name for that. Because obviously, I tell y'all he's big on, making he's big on for everyone to, do what they're meant to do and encouragement. So talk a little bit about, coming up with bread and having it mean something bigger than just being an apparel brand, but just talking about how you want people to understand that they can do anything that they want to as long as they can put their mind to it and know that they can do it.
Well, the initial spark for BRED Clothing, the born ready part came from everybody is born different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're special when you're born because you're just you. You come into this world by yourself. So that means you have a purpose.
Mm.
Like, you have a purpose in life. You have a purpose to do what you got to do, to be here for some reason. You may not even know what your reason is, but it's a reason why you're here. You know what I'm saying? And that reason could be to change lives, you know what I'm saying? Help somebody else out. It can be anything. I just feel my reason is through fashion and do, anything else. And establish different. I just feel, once you're born, once you're here with your purpose, you're established different because everybody has something different that they're good at.
Mm.
Like, prime example, you good with the cameras, you good with X, Y, and Z.
Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to fashion, that wouldn't be your strong point. So you would come to me with fashion because that's what I'm good at. And together, you know what I'm saying, we create BRED Clothing.
Yeah. So as far as like with the creative process and creating, would you say that you were born with creativity or did it just come like naturally to you?
I think it
Or did it like develop over time?
I think it develops over time.
Mhm.
It's like I'm inspired by so much different things. Like, I probably make about 100 designs a week.
Yeah, he really does.
And I'll run it by y'all, whatever. And I
You send
probably
it all the time.
before I make a drop, it's like an album to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll probably have 200-300 designs and only choose like 5 to come up with a collage around that before I actually make a pure drop because I think so deep into it. So I think over time it gets better, and you can tell by the different logos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, that I had to create it over time or whatever. So yeah.
So as far as with that creativity, is there what are like some of the people that I guess you would say influence you creative wise?
Creative wise, it can be anything. It can be a book I read. It can be my mom. It can be our family story, what we're going through. You know what I'm saying? I'll just use that story with some random colors and some shapes and just come up with a design. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can just be talking to somebody and I can be inspired by their story.
They just spark something.
And they'll just spark, they'll just spark a design. Like, prime example with the George Floyd situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That was big. Yeah.
That was very inspirational for me. So when I made those T-shirts for that event, you know what I'm saying, and then it went worldwide, I was like, okay, I kind of got a feel for this. And I know this is where I'm supposed to be at.
So, getting a little bit into that part, at what point did you, or was there ever a point where you said that, okay, I'm in this fashion thing and this is something that, I'm trying to, take serious?
Mm-hmm.
What was that point?
It was the point to where when I did those shirts and I would just have my designs and I would just have it in my head, and then somebody would come to me and be like, yo, what is BRED Clothing? What does bread mean? And I would tell them and they would say, oh, that's deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, can I get a shirt? So it wasn't even the money about it. It was just what the brand actually stood for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and what it meant to people.
Yeah, what it actually meant to other people. And it's like, if I could do it for free, I would, but things cost.
Can't do that.
We got supply and demand.
Yeah, exactly. So getting into the business side of it, I think that you're in the entrepreneur space.
Yeah.
So describe how that process is not only being in the entrepreneur space, but how it is being in the entrepreneur space with a clothing line. Like, what's some of like the challenges with that?
It's very challenging, and the reason why is because you have fashion everywhere,
Mhm.
and then you have to compete with people like Nike, designers, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton. Then on top of that, other people in your local area. So it's like for me, I try to stay in my own lane. You know what I'm saying? I don't worry about what outsiders say or what somebody else is doing. I just kind of focus on what bread clothing means to me and the people that's actually following
Mhm.
bread clothing for me, and I cater to them because they're going to spread the word out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And get more people to. That's how you build it up. So it's very competitive though. It's a big market out there for fashion, and it's bigger than just getting a T-shirt and putting a logo on it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It has to have value to it. You know what I mean?
So how do you go about, like you were talking about, competing with, big name companies and, trying to at least get your stuff out there? How do you, or what's your mindset when you thinking about like, okay, this is what people are into now. How can I adjust, design that's going to attract, different people?
I'll see marketing.
Mhm.
Like I'll create a design, then I'll feed it to the streets. I'll give out sample shirts, and if my core audience is liking it, or they have a feeling for it, then I'll drop more.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But I make sure I feed the core audience first before I.
To get like their opinions.
Yeah, I get it. Like, but when I create a design, I'm probably asking like 10 people. I already know in my head how it's gonna look or whatever, but I'm asking 10 to 12 people, hey, look, what do you think about this design? What do you think about that design? And I love constructive criticism.
Mhm.
Like if it's ugly, bro, like tell me that it's ugly. So
I'll tell you.
you know what I mean? So I know what to go fix and what to do or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
because that's how you learn. That's how you get better
So
over time.
how important is that part?
It's very important.
Because
I don't want no yes man around me.
there you go.
No yes man. Like, shout out to our cousin D.
Yeah, shout out D. He over there
Yeah,
fighting for the country.
For real. He probably my biggest hate out here, but I love him to
He was
death.
telling he hates something in a minute.
That's what I'm
Nah,
saying.
my boy.
Yeah, he be like, bro, I don't like it. Like it's not gonna go. Then I'll like go against the grain because I'll take his opinion. So because I know he's gonna be blunt with me. Like, yo, Jay, this ain't gonna sell. This not gonna go right. It's not like X, Y, and Z. So I use that and it feed. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I feel once I have something that somebody doesn't like, okay, it's a go now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I got that little bit of approval from that person that's close to me, it's good to go.
So how important is that? Or how would you say that having that person is important, at least for, not even in clothing, but just in any business or anything that you're working on, to not have, people that's just gonna agree with you because they don't want to upset you, but at least have that one person that's gonna say, I don't think that's gonna work.
It's a sign of growth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have people around you that's telling you doing good, you doing this, you doing that, but it's not a straight line in life. Like I want you to tell me if I messed up. You know what I'm saying? If hey look, yo, you get back in line. Like you need those type of people to help you grow and be a better person. You can't get mad at like somebody criticizing you.
Yeah, especially if it's coming from an honest place.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And it's like you can tell if somebody hating or not.
Yeah.
But even when hate, you gotta take it with a grain of salt too, because it's like, okay, are you hating because you want to see me grow, or are you hating because you want to be where I'm at?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because it's a big difference.
And then speaking on growth, so I remember when you first sent us like the very first bread design, and then to where it's at now, and of course it's still going to keep growing. But talk a little bit about, at least as far as how you have grown from when you first started to actually now, and actually being in it for some time.
I thought that first design was gonna change the world. Because I put so much time into it. Like
That's what you did.
I put a lot of time into that first design, like just creating it, and I was like, oh, like yo, this gonna be the one that go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that design is right now.
Oh, it didn't go.
It didn't go.
Oh, man.
It didn't go. I would say it didn't go because the more I started getting inspired, the more I started creating, I kind of branched off from it.
Mhm.
So it'll always be a start. But like, it just wasn't it. And that's a part of entrepreneurship, you know what I'm saying? You get into something you think is gonna go, but that's just the start of it. So like, and when I look at my milestone, I always remember that design. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep growing from that.
Yeah.
So it's a good starting point.
So, and all that, and then realizing where you started from up until now, what would be some things that you said you learned from that?
The
Either,
business.
yeah, and either learn about yourself or just about business in general.
I learned how to be patient.
Yeah,
I learned
that's
how to
key.
be more patient. I learned that you have to give things time. You have to like really invest into yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's not just you get a T-shirt and put a design on it and then sell it for $35. Like, why is it worth $35? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is on it to make it pop like that? It's deeper than that. What's the color scheme in it? Like, why is it this color? Are you matching the colors with the season? Then I got into to doing one-on-ones, and people started loving one-on-ones because, and I learned that this one-on-one means something to this person because only they have it, and it's meant for them. So I kind of took that characteristic and put it towards the actual franchise and the brand, which is the reason why I branched off iconic designs from BRED Clothing.
Okay. So I think you talked a little bit about it just now. And I don't want it to get overlooked that. And then you can probably talk a little bit more on it. But, talking about believing in yourself, and then, if you have an idea, it's something that you can be passionate about, being able to, tell yourself, okay, I'm going to bet on me and I'm going to invest in myself. And not just trying to say, you know what, no, I don't need to do this. I can put money into something else, but just believing in what you got. So talk a little bit about how that has been for you and how you had to continue to believe in yourself that, okay, I'm going to bet on this, that this going to work.
Betting on myself is major. Like I tell you all the time, like, bro, just put forth the effort to bet on yourself, invest into yourself, because nobody else is going to bet on you. You can't progress. You can't win without betting on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can procrastinate all you want, but until you actually get up and go do it, you know what I'm saying? But betting on yourself requires you to fail, because once you fail, you know where not to be. And it's a stepping stone. Like, you bet on yourself, you fail, you get back up, you do it again. It's like a whole learning process. You're going to eventually win. You can't lose forever. So just betting on myself with this clothing brand from start to finish, well, not even finished, but like from the start to where I'm at now, it has been amazing. Like, I wish I started earlier.
So, where we're in 2022 now. So, let's say in 2032, 10 years from now, what would you say, or what are you imagining BRED to be at that point?
I'm going to say BRED would probably be a 7-figure establishment. And it's going to branch off into other entities. It's not going to be just a clothing brand, you know what I'm saying? I might have a iconic cologne or, a different speaker or something like that. Like, I want to just branch it off. Something bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want it to be about me no more, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want my face to be on it. I just want it to just be out there.
And was that always like something important for you to just understand that, yeah, I'm starting this clothing brand, but, I don't want it to be just about, me getting money, but it's going to be more about, trying to provide stuff for other people.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Because the money if you got a product, the money is going to come. But what are you doing with it? Are you reinvesting the money? Or are you just like letting the money stack up and buying what you want to buy? Like, each time we get revenue in, we invest it right back into the company. And we keep doing that to build the company up. Because at this point, it's not about me. It's not about what I wear or how I look. It's about building a brand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people are attracted to brands. So I'm real big. I'm real big on that. I'm trying to make that, you know what I'm saying, a thing.
And then one thing I want to touch on is that you also do a lot with, helping other people. And then, not only trying to, share your brand with them, but also having their brand same platform and sharing their stuff. So talk about how it's important, for at least for us as a community to be able to not only push our stuff, but be able to help push other people's stuff as well.
Yeah, I feel you gotta support your people, and you gotta support other people that's in your line of field or your line of work. Just the whole process of just networking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I may not know something that you may know, and if we collide and we network, I can make you bigger and you can make me bigger as a person, and we still growing. Even with somebody small that doesn't know nothing about a clothing brand, they would come to me. I'll just give them the blueprint because that can be the next Nike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I can invest into. So I don't never try to hide game from nobody.
Yeah, and I think that's important. That being able to, give game to people and not, keep it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's enough money for everybody. Man.
That's a fact. There's a lot of money out here.
So you don't have to keep the info to yourself. You can share it.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, as we like to wrap up the show, we like to talk about what things we have learned or gained from what we do. So I always believe that, anything we do, we can get life lessons in some shape or form from whatever we do. So what would you say some life lessons were that you got from, being in the clothing line industry for as long as you've been?
Life lessons I've learned from the clothing brand would be patience. I learned how to be more patient. I learned how to be less judgmental. I learned that everybody has a story. Everybody expresses their story differently. I learned that everybody has a form of art within themselves. They do different things, judging characteristics and judging situations. All that played a big part, a real big part.
And so far, what would you say your most proudest moment so far with BRED Clothing so far?
My most proudest moment was those shirts that we did for the George Floyd situation. That was like my peak of the world knowing what BRED Clothing is. You know what I'm saying?
Was that like a time that changed? Like, okay, this is gonna be something bigger than you.
Yeah. That was a moment because it's like we made the designs. Like I was making so many designs, and that situation happened, and we sent a percentage of the proceeds over to a foundation for him. So once that marketing strategy was applied, and those sales came in, and I didn't just start to see sales from South Carolina, North Carolina, or Virginia. I was seeing sales from California, Texas, Arizona, all across the world. Yeah. And to see that impact, it was like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. I have to be doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
It's for me.
So, let's say somebody's just starting in the clothing industry or wanted to get into it. What would be some advice you would give them?
First, do the work on yourself. Find out not even just a clothing industry or just anything. Just do the work on yourself. Find out why you're doing it. Find out your why. Find out the audience that you're targeting, the people that you want to attract this thing to. Don't focus on your family and friends to help you coming out. You know what I'm saying? Look at it on a bigger scale. Look at it on a worldwide scale coming out before you start looking at it locally. I know that sounds crazy. It might sound backwards, but it works.
But it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Like don't look for people. Like just do the work on yourself. Invest into yourself. Find out all the angles, what you got to do first, and then you can jump out there. But first, you have to know why you're doing it. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, then
just going into it.
Yeah, blindly.
Yeah,
and you're gonna fail. You fail every time.
That's good.
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate that, cuzzo.
Hey, we kept it together a little bit.
Yeah,
we
man.
Didn't laugh too much.
Yeah, I see that. I see you try to,
Hey. Hey, we about to cut up after this, but just got anything coming up? Anything you want to shout out?
We dropping this summer. We had a lot of paperwork we had to finish out real quick.
Sir, big bag.
You know what I mean? We had a lot of paperwork we had to do. We working with different people. We working with different designers. We're collabing a whole lot more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we branching off a lot.
Yes, sir.
But this summer we will be dropping.
All right. So you can find them at BRED Clothing on Instagram, Facebook, BREDClothing.com online. I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
You know,
it's gonna be a 2-part episode in VA. So make sure you tune in next week to our new guest, and hopefully it's gonna be a good one.
hey, you gotta come back out here, man.
Oh, definitely.
You know, I gotta take you around the city a little bit.
Hey, we'll see y'all later.